Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View with myself, Baz. It is Wednesday, the 25th of June. And we're still waiting on Celtic making an announcement when it comes to the signing of Benji, but the director of the team that he's currently at is basically saying that they're counting the cost, and the £1.3 million fee is an absolute bargain. And he says that they knew the player wasn't going to run down his contract, and they've admitted that they're on the verge of selling him. They didn't mention Celtic, but they're resigned to losing the winger, since he did inform them that he wasn't extending his contract, and they're fully aware of obviously what's going on. When you play so many young players, he says they make their debuts for national teams, offers can come in for the players. We are continuously evaluating our strategy to use our young players as much as possible. It's interesting that they've got their academy players, and they take full advantage of players coming through the system to sell on. Something that Celtic could look at, maybe, but you never know. Anyway, another Celtic news. I watched the Ross, young goalkeeper Ross Kuhn. I watched his interview with Celtic, with the media that they put out yesterday. And I've got to say, I was impressed with the guy yesterday, but I watched it again this morning, just for a bit of clarity. And the whole fact that he gets the phone call for Stevie Woods, and with the phone call lasted 2 minutes with Stevie Woods, and the first minute is just asking how you're doing, how's family, blah blah blah, how's life, this, how's that. Did you enjoy beating us at Hampden? Blah, blah. And then he said, would you like to come back? And before he even finished the sentence, he said, yes. He said, yeah. He jumped at the opportunity. And that's what you love about players like that. I mean, he'll probably get slated at some point in his Celtic career because he's Scottish. And that's what Celtic fans do. We seem to give stick to Scottish-born players more than we do international players. It's just the way of the world, isn't it, when it comes to Celtic? But he's a player that I'm actually really excited about. I think that when Kasper Schmeichel hangs up his boots at the end of the season, for the first time, I think that we could have a continuation of fantastically talented goalkeepers. You know, there's always been, we've had Scott Bain at the club for a long time, and he was the number 2, and people were a bit edgy with Scott Bain. You know, it's Bain, he's shite, he's not that good. A typical stick that any Scottish player gets. I mean, you could list names of Scottish players over the years that we've given stick to, but I think this guy, with that air of confidence, the air of confidence that comes in with him, saying that he's not here just to make up the numbers. Do you know, he's came back and he's matured. He's went away, he's matured as a player. He's matured both on and off the pitch, and he's now coming back to let Woodsy and the rest of the coaching staff see what he can do. He said that Celtic haven't seen me train for a good couple of years since I've been away, and he feels that he's improved as a player. And I think that it's going to be, it's good that, you know, when you look at the goalkeeping position over the last couple of years, obviously we brought in Joe Hart, top goalkeeper, coming to the end of his career. He had the odd, let's face it, we had the fear when Joe Hart got the ball passed back to him under Ange Postecoglou. He gave everyone the fear, and when he kicked it out wide to players, to Carl Starfelt, and he would miss Carl Starfelt, and it would go out, and everybody was like, fuck Joe, just kick it up the park. You know, it took Joe a good half season to really feel comfortable the way that Celtic played the ball out from the back. which was strange considering he is a top goalkeeper. And then he grew into the position. You know, he looked like he was always meant to be a Celtic player. And then when he leaves, you're thinking, who are we bringing in? And Brendan Rodgers picks up the phone to an equally experienced goalkeeper with over 100 caps for his country. That's no mean feat, getting two experienced goalkeepers like that at Celtic in such a short space of time. Two internationally renowned goalkeepers with the vast experience that both of them had, getting them into Celtic was a masterstroke. Let's not say anything less, because getting them in, and people say, oh, it's a cheap option. I mean, Joe Hart taking a massive wage cut to come to Celtic. But what a better way to come to end your career. If you want to end your career on a high, you want to win things. And there's a certain pressure that Joe Hart said. It's not like playing for other clubs where you can draw a game and it's okay. There is the pressure of having to turn up every single week and win every single week, and that's a pressure that not a lot of people can cope with. Hence the reason that I think bringing back young Ross, he knows the Celtic way. He's came through Celtic at the age of 12, 13, and he came up through the ranks, and then he left and he went away and got experience. We've heard all this before from players that have done this exact same, youth players, and I think that's why when Kasper Schmeichel does retire, we've got Sinisalo, who was fantastic last season. He was brilliant. He never put a foot wrong. You know, it got to the stage that I was saying before the Scottish Cup final, Kasper Schmeichel shouldn't come back in. I don't care if he's the number one goalkeeper. Sinisalo was tremendous towards the end of the season. He got the ball out quicker than Kasper. He mixed things up a bit. You know, he done things a little bit different from Kasper. I just felt that the flow of the game was a bit better under Sinisalo. It all bodes well for the future. Now, if Ross can come in and he does the exact same and puts that little bit of pressure on Sinisalo, I think it's absolutely fantastic that we're going to have two goalkeepers fighting for that number one position going forward. And pushing it on, and it's keeping the standard of the goalkeeper high at Celtic, which for me I think is fantastic. But as Celtic being Celtic, it does come with a caveat in the transfer market. Although the old Benji story, the director of his club is saying that they're ready to lose him. There's another story about a player, and it's just so Celtic, isn't it? To make such strides in all other departments, strides going forward in players that are going to solidify positions in the goalkeeping position, bringing in wingers that are going to excite us and change the game, potentially bringing in midfielders that are going to give us a bit of beef in midfield, and then they go and get a lone player as a striker. It's the Celtic way, isn't it? Yeah, it's looking like the Evan Ferguson thing for the young Republic of Ireland player could be in shout for a loan movement, maybe a permanent one, but the talk is of a loan movement for Evan Ferguson. I don't think that we should be going and getting any loan player for striker. For me, it gives me the fear that if we're getting a loan player in, Celtic are not convinced that they're going to keep Dyson Maeda for any length of time, and it's another position that's. I don't want the striker position to turn into the left back position, where we're holding on to Dyson Maeda as much as we can, and then he ends up going away. He ends up walking out the club for virtually nothing, the way that Greg Taylor has. I don't want that to happen to the side, and I don't believe that we're going into a summer where we're getting linked with the next Aberdeen striker who hasn't managed to do it at Spain, and then we're going to get a young Evan Ferguson on loan. Is he really the answer? Is he really the answer? And what are Celtic playing at? Are Celtic playing the one in, one out system? Are they waiting on Niko Kuhn confirming that he will leave the club, and is that why they're waiting on to get the wingers in? For me, Celtic should just be getting the players in. The way that Ange Postecoglou used to do it at Celtic is get the players in and settled. We know that Niko Kuhn is going to be leaving the building, so get the other wingers in. We know that we needed a winger to cover for Jota. Get them in. What are we waiting for? We need them in this week. We don't need them in 3-4 weeks' time. We need them in this week so that Brendan Rodgers can work his magic with them. And get the players in, and then Niko Kuhn, that deal will take care of itself. There's no way that deal will not happen. It seems that the hierarchy at Celtic are very reluctant now to move fast in the transfer market, and it's a case of, but we'll wait till he goes and it's confirmed that he goes, because if he doesn't go, but then we've got an overload of wingers. Brendan Rodgers will turn around and say to him, look, the player wants to go, we'll get rid of him. It's as simple as that. Anyway, good morning to Stevens Johnson's. Good morning to Square Sausage Mick, who said Casper was an exceptional last season. One fuck up in the final and folk want him dropped. No Square Sausage Mick, I didn't want him back. I don't think that he should have earned his place back. I said at the time. So just because he slipped up in the final, I've never said that he should be dropped this season. I said at the time, before the cup final came around, I felt it was unfair on the young Sinisalo. I thought that Vim done brilliant, absolutely brilliant last season, and I felt it was unfair on him. And for the one reason that I said at the time, I said that match fitness comes into play. And okay, was it match fitness? You could say it was match sharpness. He goes down to get the ball and it hits off the palm, underneath the palm of his hand, and goes into the net. Is that sharpness? Is that match sharpness? That maybe 1 second delay? Maybe he could, if he was, you take my comment, context, Baz. I know, I'm just being mischievous this morning, because it's one of those days where Celtic is, we're just waiting to see. Celtic FC women kick off the season with their trip to face Hearts. Ooh. Alistair Johnson involved in a red card for Canada. I see that the winger that we all love to hate, Louis Palma, scores again. He's turning into the Arnie Engels, isn't he? He's back in love with his national country. Louis Palma roofed an unlikely goal in the second half of stoppage time to hand Honduras a 2-1 victory. What is it with Louis Palma and when he plays for his national team? He must score in like every second game for his national team. But for Celtic, it never really worked, is it? And the fact that he is still on international duty means that he will not be back to Celtic for at least another couple of weeks, which then gives Brendan Rodgers a headache when you've got other unhappy players walking through the door, and especially when we're bringing in brand new wingers. Louis Palmer's going to walk back in the door through Celtic and he's going to say, Madre mia. Right, that's what he'll say. That's what he'll say. But anyway, we won't sign anyone for weeks, says Square Sausage Mac. Teresa's asking someone if they know the lottery numbers. It's all about balancing the books. I don't believe that as a football club, the books balance out over the course of the summer. I don't see the need to wait until we have one player out the door before we bring another in. We never worked like that before under Ange. We've always got, even Ange said, we work one transfer window in front of the other. We know we bring someone in the Christmas because we know that this player's potentially going to leave in the summer. We don't do that now. So that takes your whole balance in the books things and it turns it upside down. And it shows that Ange knew something, and maybe Brendan's not got the respect that Ange had from the board. But then again, maybe that's why Ange left, because he knew that he wasn't going to get the money that he wanted to make Celtic better, and he wanted to try himself at the top level of English football, and then finish 17th in the league. Monty's in the house. Josh says, was absolutely scunnered with this club as a shambles. We're not a big club, certainly don't operate like one. The fans are what make us a big club, and that's as far as it goes in Josh's opinion. Are we scunnered with the way that the transfer market is going so far with Celtic? I can understand where you're coming from, Josh. I really can. When you look at the way that it comes down to negotiation skills, and it comes down to the fact that the people that we have doing the negotiating for Celtic aren't the most chattiest people, it's been said, by many people. Many people have said that, you know, it's like trying to get blood out of stone with Nicholson when you enter into conversations and you're in meetings. You know, he's a very quiet man compared to the person that would have done negotiations before, and Peter Lawwell. Peter Lawwell, although would drag the deals out and try and get the money down, I think Nicholson must be the worst player ever to play against poker, because he's probably got a shite hands, but he's just got the same face as when he's got, you know, he's probably the best poker player ever. But anyway, just reading the comment. In my lifetime, we've not really been lucky with goalkeepers. The last 4 years we've done superb. Normally had brilliant strikers compared to goalkeepers over the years. Yeah, that just goes back to my comment. I think that for the fact that we've got Sinisalo and Ross at the club, and the enthusiasm from the interview yesterday from Ross was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that, you know, that it was interesting that it was Woodsy that phoned him. It was the goalkeeper and coach, and just said, "Look, be interested in coming back." If he'd said no, that'd have been at the end of the conversation. You would never have heard anything about it. But the fact that he bounced on he bounced on it. He's like, yes, it's confirmed there and then. So who leaked it? Who leaked it all those months ago? Was it Ross's friends that kind of let it leak, or was it Woodsy that just went, right, that's it, he's coming? And then somebody in Celtic went, Ross Dohan's coming to Celtic. And we knew at the end of last season that before he got to the cup final with Aberdeen that he was coming to Celtic. But anyway, Bonner, Borage, Foster, Gordon, Hart, Schmeichel, decent like, says Monty. They were all goal. I mean, Pat Bonner was just a legend. But there's a gap, isn't there, from Pat Bonner to Borage, isn't there, for really top class goalkeepers? It's not a. But then again, you could say that David Marshall, for what he done in that game in Barcelona, he was one that came through the system. He was one that were let go far too early. He went on to have a fantastic career, and I think that we all regretted David Marshall leaving the Celtic. But it's the way that it is. The way it is. Peter Latchford, Jesus God. Players will be weighing up their options and getting in the Champions League increase or lower. Martin O'Neill should be employed as a sporting director. He would sell the club well to the foreign signing. I don't think that we need a sporting director after we brought in the football god doctor. The football doctor. The club's a shambles. Penny pinching at finest. We're not a big club, says Josh. Is it penny pinching, or is it the reality? Is it the reality of, this is going to be... we have to start banking cash, because if we're thinking 2 seasons ahead, 3 seasons ahead, ride the wave of the Champions League money for as much as we can. But if it's going to become the situation where we do have to go into more qualifying games to get into the Champions League, we've never been too successful at that. Maybe that's why James, I didn't even know who he is. A pie and curry. A pie and curry? What is he talking about? But anyway, let me see if there's any updated news. There's not going to be a lot of news kicking around this morning. I can just see Brendan Rodgers. He's bound to start getting. I mean, if he's got ADHD, he's he's at the point now where he's like, fucking Nicholson better not do this to me this summer again. If he doesn't get the players in that I want before we go to Portugal, I swear to God I'm going to come and poke him right in the eyes. Living within your means. Is it living within your means, banking all the cash? Or, do you know, we're talking about getting players in early. We've got the money to do it. We know that players are going to be leaving. We always come out the window better off financially. So this whole living within your means at this stage of the transfer window is nonsense, because it is all about, I don't know. Shay Given. Yeah, that was a big mistake letting Shay Given go. I mean, there's been so many younger players in the goalkeeping department who've let go over the years that we should never have let go. I still can't believe that we're selling Kuhn for so little. I mean, is Kuhn really worth more than 15 million? Nicholson is more likely to be on the ADH scale. Let's do a quick poll. We've had over 500 views this morning. How long we've been on? 21 minutes. Usually do the poll first thing. There you go. 150. Oh God. Type it again. Jesus, I cannot type today. Worth. There we go. See, nothing wrong with it. You got to get a bat. You got 155. Do you think that Niko Kuhn's is worth more than 15 million? It's interesting, because I'm going to watch and see how this one goes, because a lot of the people that will be voting yes will be the same people that said Kuhn's shite the second half of the season. So just take that into consideration when you're voting. The fact that, do you know how bad he was the second half of the season? Do you think that Kuhn is worth more than 15 million? Looking at Kuhn's first 6 months, we probably could have got 20 million, then he dropped off since January. That wasn't his first. That was the first 6 months of last year, last season. The first 6 months he was at Celtic, he was garbage. Kuhn's worth 26 million. 20 million is a bargain. 15 million with a 20% selling will do, says Kaiser. Kaiser's the one that said he was going to go for around about 30 million, didn't you, Kaiser? Or 26. Kaiser said that away last December, if I remember correct. Kuhn, 10 million tops. 15 to 18 in today's market. Ask yourself, would we pay 15 million square sausage mix it? Not a chance. Celtic would never pay 15 million for Niko Kuhn. Not a chance. Kuhn, 18 months at the club. He's had 6 good months. Take the money. Right, put it into perspective. We brought a young player through from Manchester City. We brought a young player through from Manchester City we got for 300 grand. He was a wing back. He done okay at the club. I don't think that anyone expected him to sell so quickly for 10 million. Now he's ultimately went on and became a bit of a player. So yeah, 15 million and dare run. Kuhn's heart's not in it. Kaiser's valuations are just mental. Would we pay 15 million for any player? Said Irishman and Port. I don't think we would, mate. It would have to be an exceptional player. I think that the board have been had their fingers bitten in the fact that we paid 11 million and 9 million for two players last summer, and I think that they've went, I can't see us getting the money back for that. You know, can you see Arne Engels becoming a 30 million player so that you can get the profitability up? Can you see Adam Ida being sold for 15 to 20 million? That's the question. But can you see a club in England paying 15 to 20 million for Adam Ida? Jay Johnson says, Baz, I'm surprised that we got offered 15 million, so I think we should bite the hand off for 15 million. If you'd done better the second half of the season, it would be 20 plus, said Paul Cassidy. 15 to 18 million with 20 to 30% sell-on clause, says Michael. Square Sausage Mix says, Kaiser, he says that Dyson Meider was 40 million. He's clearly worth £600 billion player. He's in the stratosphere of Donald Trump numbers. Good morning, Michelle. She says his stats compared to Jota's first spell just not as good. We sold Jota for 25 million. That would be an insult. Should be 20 million. Interesting. I haven't noticed Kuhn last season. He went in the huff when we were out of the Champions League. Dr. Evil numbers for Dyson. He's too much of a one-trick pony to be worth more than 15 million, says Jack Ryan. Is he a one-trick pony? I think that Brendan Rodgers knows good wingers when he sees one, and I think that he knows when a player is not really going to progress, and it's that point Brendan just goes, just get on it. Something today says, good morning, you bunch of handsome bar stewards and lanky. One trick pony that scored goals for fun. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Trump swearing on TV, Comedy Gold. Yeah, Monty, you should. Yeah, there's a shot on the channel, Monty. You need to go and see it, where he's where I interviewed Trump to ask him about the 49ers. The only reason I think we got so much for Jota is because the Saudis have money. So 10 million minutes. Was Jota ultimately just a £15 million player? I mean, we ended up getting him again for almost the same as what we paid for him the first time. If we won the treble, he would be worth more. If we'd won the treble, I think that we're going to win the treble this season. Let's finish that poll off. I'm going to for the next minute. I'm going to do another poll. See how confident that we are. Just a quick one. See how you feel. See how confident you're feeling about Celtic and Brendan Rodgers. Can Celtic win the treble this year? It's been elusive for the last 2 years. Brendan Rodgers will have the bit between his teeth this year. And I think that's why there's going to be a turnaround in players. This is my thinking behind it, right? This is just my opinion and my thinking behind it. I think that Brendan knew that the first season at Celtic, that when he came back, he spoke about getting the fitness levels up, getting everyone to finish the season on a high, getting everybody really motivated. This is what it's like to. This is our time. We kind of petered out towards the end of last season. We never had the bench to change it up. We never had the motivation in players going into the last game at Celtic Park. It was like a friendly, and it gave me the fear going into the final the week later. Can these players up their game for that one last game? Can they give it one last push? And I think Brendan Rodgers would have seen that and went, I need fresh faces, fresh impetus. People have got too comfortable here. I need people that have got that little bit of hunger, that want to win trebles, that fucking have that bite between their teeth. That even if you're going this summer, let's go out on a high. Let's go out on a fucking, this is our time. Make a name for yourself. Even if you leave Celtic this summer, go out and just entertain the fans and do your damnedest. Only Cameron Carter-Vickers and Callum McGregor really did that. Hence the reason that was one of the reasons that he's probably wanted to bring back Kieran Tierney, is to bring that fight back into the club, bring that fight into the playing staff. Somebody that's going to say, oh, you fucking prick, you better fucking start playing today, or I'm going to kick your cunt in the dressing room. Kieran Tierney style. So, can we win the treble this year? I think we can. I think that this will be the year that Brendan wins the treble, because he will see himself as a failure if he doesn't. Trebles it was easy his first time round, and I think that he'll feel that he's not achieved if he doesn't win a treble this time. I'm just saying, it's just my thinking behind what will motivate Brendan this season to do what he didn't do last year and win the treble. Do you know what? We took that little bit of a next step. We almost got there in the Champions League wise. He'll want to do better this year. He'll want to achieve more. He'll want to try and get to that last 16 in the Champions League. And he'll also want to win the treble. And he'll also say to the guys upstairs, I need better players. I need a little bit better quality staff and players and players that are really motivated for this club. Do you know, there's some players that just fucking couldn't give a shit. It's just a club to them. It's just another club. And people like Niko Kuhn, who have had that journey throughout their career. I think Niko Kuhn's been at 5 clubs before he came to Celtic. That's someone that's not got the mindset to want to stay and want to win and just keep winning. That's not Scott Brown mentality. Do you know, that's not getting the motivation to do it again next year. That's someone that's saying, it's just a job, I want to go and play somewhere else now. I want to go back to Germany. So yeah, do we sacrifice the league and bring in the B squad though? Nope. You never sacrifice the league. The title in the last 8 will do me still progress. Interesting. Treble and Champions League quarter-finals, says Monty. League Scottish Cup will do for me, says John. Blood the Youth into the League Cup. Interesting, some of the comments. The board will hinder Celtic getting the treble this season. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Can Celtic win the treble this year is the question. In the poll, we're sitting at 76% said yes, 24% said no. 24% said no. Players we're bringing in and the squad will be with the hunger and drive. We also need 5 first team starters. Left centre back, defensive midfield, right winger, left midfield and striker. We also need left back to come in for Kieran as whether we promote somebody for the youth team. There's a lot of positions that need. See, big Luka Modric signed for Rangers. Sorry, AC Milan this morning. Did he go to Milan? Wow. He finally left Spain. He must be like 140 just now, isn't he? He's just. I mean, you're going about Dyson Maida, Duracell, but Bunny, do you know? But Luka Modric, he'll play till he's 45. I mean, and by the way, before we finish up, how could I forget? Happy birthday to Scott Brown, who turns 40 today. Yes, Scott Brown turns 40. And Neil Lennon, happy birthday to you as well, Neil. Neil Lennon's 54 today. Neil Lennon's 54 and Bruni's just a young thing at 40. 40-year-old is Bruni. Unbelievable. I see we're reverting to Big Ant style tactics of buying Japanese. Well, we didn't do too bad with buying Japanese before. So we'll wait and see what happens. Floating pitch being taken at the Ibrox as we speak. Also great news, the guy charged. Oh yeah! We'll finish on one of those. Remember in the news, and they would go, and finally, Trevor McDonald would go, and finally, a little smile. End on a bit of good news and hilarity. Last week, we spoke about the fact that Turkey Teeth got jailed because he was spotted in the stand due to his extremely white dentures. This week, another Rangers fan gets a tag. Yep, he gets tagged and he gets told that he's got to stay indoors between 7 at night and 7 in the morning. Anyway, that has been done and dusted. Why is it starting to freeze? It is freezing. What is going on with the internet? Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. I need to finish up the poll. First, finish up that poll. I don't know what you got there because I think I froze. A floating casino next week. Let me just see what it's done. Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.